You and the accused, Cruz Castillo, are engaged to be married?
Yes.
Would you excuse us, please? Thank you.
Are you here to support Cruz Castillo?
Of course I'm here to support him.
Then you don't think he's a murderer?
He is innocent. Not only do I believe that, I'm willing to stake my life on it.
No, the only person whose life is on the line here is Cruz Castillo's.
Mr. Timmons, are you confident of this conviction?
Yes, I am. I'm confident that Cruz Castillo will be found guilty as charged. Excuse me, I have to go into a public service.
Thank you.
Talk to you later.
Mason, the place is swarming with reporters. Isn't there something you can do to get in and out of here without being barraged by questions?
Sorry, Dad. It's Keith's domain. You know what his answer to any of our requests would be.
Cruz.
Second.
Keith, would you mind if I talk to him for a minute?
Hi. You know, I was kind of hoping that you wouldn't come.
Yeah, I had to be here.
Yeah, well...
You know, I talked with Pearl, and Carmen's not going to be coming. He didn't think it would be best.
Well, that's good. This is the last thing my little sister needs to see.
Yeah, well, you better get used to looking at me, because I'm going to be here every day till this trial ends.
Darling, I love looking at you. You know that. I just hate the idea of what you're going to have to listen to in this room.
Well, I won't listen. Besides, when I'm with you, it's like the two of us are just alone.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what we have here is, in part, just a sad story. It's, you know, it suddenly occurred to me, it's a lot like Romeo and Juliet, tragic lovers who would have died for each other. It parallels the relationship of Cruz Castillo and Eden Capo a lot, huh? Castillo, like Romeo, had thought he'd lost his Juliet. She had an accident. She went to Utah and got in a plane crash. And we've seen the devastating effects before us of that accident. Now our sympathies go out to her, but you can in no way allow your sympathy to cloud your vision of justice. Now, at the same time, Cruz Castillo displayed a flagrant disregard for his own life. On at least 2 occasions, we know that Mr. Castillo put himself in grave danger. And it was also at this time that the real victim, Elena Nicholas, entered the picture. Now, Elena was a beautiful, determined woman. She just didn't know at the time that her determination would cause her own death. There's a picture of her here. It was taken, just after she entered Mr. Castillo's private detective agency, ironically called The Last Resort. You can see Mr. Castillo there. I mean, he's a healthy, virile man who has a man's needs, and we all know that grief alone can't deaden a man's needs. We have the testimony of 2 people that Elena, and these 2 people, one of them, Mr. Castillo's sister, the other, Pearl Bradford, have testified that Elena Nicholas offered herself to Cruz Castillo. Now, I ask you, looking at that picture, would Romeo himself, if he were alive today, turn down this woman? I think not. I will be able to prove that Cruz Castillo and Elena Nicholas did have an affair. And then something happened. Something strange happened. Something miraculous happened. Like Juliet, Eden Capwell returned from the dead. Now, I would imagine anyone would think that they would get together and live happily ever after as soon as she crossed the city limits. But that's not what happened. No, she wouldn't move in with him. She wanted to live at her father's house. Mr. Castillo, on his part, of course, dumped Elena Nicholas. Elena, of course, was quite upset about this, but he wouldn't go back to her. She tried hard, but it was to no avail. Now, what we have here is, there's no crime. No right, no wrong. Just the passions of three people: Cruz, Eden, and Elena. Elena, she threatened to tell Eden of the passionate affair that she'd had with Cruz. Well, Cruz, remembering all the suffering he went through when he thought Eden was dead, he couldn't face the fact of life without her. So what did he do? He picked up a gun. He went over to the Laser Palace. Eden was in his life again. Elena Nicholas was trying to destroy that. He took the gun and he shot her, and she was dead. It was a murder of premeditation. It was a murder in cold blood. It was a murder in the first degree. And for that crime, the state of California asks the ultimate penalty: death. In the gas chamber.
It's prepared a palette comprised of misrepresentations, exaggerations, distortions, and lies in an attempt to paint a picture of Cruz Castillo as a man who would commit murder. He also made reference to William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, then proceeded to tell a story about Eden Capwell and Cruz Castillo that was equally as fictional. He mentioned no evidence because he has none. There is no evidence that Cruz Castillo had an affair with Elena Nicholas. There is no evidence that Elena Nicholas threatened Cruz Castillo, and there is no evidence that Cruz Castillo pulled the trigger of the weapon that killed Elena Nicholas. Mr. Timmons would have us believe that a man with Mr. Castillo's record of courage, honesty, and integrity, a man dedicated to the protection of life, not the destruction of it, would resort to murder. As for Mr. Timmons' claims of an affair between Cruz Castillo and Elena Nicholas, Cruz Castillo was as faithful to Eden Capwell when he presumed her dead as he had been in the months preceding her tragic accident. In spite of every effort on the part of Ms. Nicholas, Cruz Castillo never succumbed to her advances. My colleague, Julia Wainwright, and I will present evidence proving that Elena Nicholas was a strange and manipulative woman, a woman who resorted to acts of violence on more than one occasion, a woman who came to Santa Barbara under an assumed name with revenge as her agenda. When the jury is made aware of the atrocities committed by Ms. Nicholas, it will come as no surprise to them that she herself met with a violent end. Now, the prosecution has made it obvious that they intend to present any sordid detail they can manufacture in order to construct a triangle that never, ever existed.